The sun was barely up when Jane Smith parked her red car at Citibank. As the new bank manager, she always came to work early. The morning was cold and foggy, making the ATM's light look like a bright blue star in the darkness. The only other car in the parking lot was an old blue car that belonged to Bob Lee, the computer expert who spent most of his time fixing the bank's computers. Jane picked up her morning coffee and her black purse, but her hands were shaking. She hadn't been able to sleep well lately. Every night she had the same bad dream about what she had done 5 years ago. No one knew about it, but the guilt was eating her up inside. She walked to the ATM to check her bank account. Her little sister was getting married next month, and Jane needed to buy an expensive dress for the wedding. She put her card in the ATM, and it made its usual beeping sound in the quiet parking lot. Jane typed in her code, 1234. The screen blinked a few times and then went dark. Before she could take her card out, bright green words appeared. But instead of showing her money, it showed something that made her heart stop. Jane Smith, 30 years old, and your biggest secret. You were the one driving the car that killed Tim Brown in 2019. You ran away and let his young son take the blame. His son is still in prison. Jane jumped back, dropping her coffee. The hot coffee spilled everywhere on the ground. This couldn't be happening. Nobody knew about this. She had never told anyone. The ATM screen just kept glowing with her terrible secret. While Jane stood there frozen in fear, another car drove into the parking lot. It was Mary Wilson, who came to the bank every Monday to get money for her grocery store. Jane wanted to yell, to tell her to stop, but she couldn't speak. She just watched as Mary walked toward the ATM in her red shoes. Suddenly, Bob Lee ran out of the bank's door, looking scared. "Mrs. Smith, something's wrong with all our computers. All the ATMs in the city. They're—" He stopped talking when he saw Mary putting her card in the machine. What happened next changed everything. Mary screamed so loud it echoed through the parking lot. Her secret was now showing on the screen. Mary Wilson, 45 years old, your biggest secret. The money in your grocery store isn't yours. You've been stealing from your 6 sisters' bank account for 3 years. Just then, police cars started arriving at other ATMs across the city. People were gathering in crowds, pointing at the ATM screens, some crying, some angry. News reporters began showing up with their cameras. The mayor called an emergency meeting. But something even stranger was happening. The secrets weren't random. Each new secret revealed seemed to connect to another person's secret, like pieces of a puzzle. Jane's secret about Tim Brown connected to Mary's secret about stealing money, which connected to someone else's secret at another ATM across town. Behind all this chaos, in a dark room filled with computer screens, someone was watching. They had planned this for years, gathering everyone's secrets, waiting for the perfect moment. And this was just the beginning. Every time someone used an ATM that day, another piece of the bigger puzzle would be revealed. The city's biggest secret was still waiting to be uncovered, and it would shock everyone, even those who thought they knew all the secrets. As more people arrived at the bank, Jane realized this wasn't just about her secret anymore. Something much bigger and more dangerous was about to unfold, and every ATM in the city was part of the plan. By 9 a.m., Citibank's parking lot was full of scared and angry people. Police officer Mike Brown pulled up in his patrol car, lights flashing. He was Tim Brown's brother, the same Tim Brown that Jane had killed 5 years ago. Jane's heart started beating faster when she saw him, but he didn't know her secret yet. The crowd around the ATM grew bigger. Everyone was pushing to see what secrets would show up next. A tall man in a business suit, Bill Taylor, pushed through the crowd. "I need to check my account," he shouted, ignoring the warnings from others. As soon as he put his card in, his secret appeared. "Bill Taylor, 50 years old, your biggest secret. You helped the mayor hide $10 million of the city's money last year." The crowd gasped. News reporters started taking pictures. Officer Brown was writing everything down in his notebook. But then something strange happened. The ATM started printing receipts by itself. Each receipt had a different number on it, like pieces of a code. Back in the bank, Bob Lee was trying to stop the ATM system, but every time he shut down one machine, Another one across the city would start showing even bigger secrets. His computer screen suddenly showed a message. Want to know who's really behind the bank robbery of 1995? Keep watching. Jane was about to tell everyone to leave when an old woman slowly walked up to the ATM. It was Mrs. Green, who had owned the flower shop next to the bank for 40 years. Everyone knew her as the sweetest person in town. But when her secret appeared, people couldn't believe their eyes. Rose Green, 75 years old. Your biggest secret, the flower shop, is just a cover. You've been running a secret organization that knows everyone's secrets since 1980. The crowd went silent. Mrs. Green didn't look surprised or scared. Instead, she smiled and pulled out an old key from her pocket. "Well," she said, looking straight at Jane, "I guess it's time to tell them about the tunnels under the bank, isn't it, dear?" Before Jane could answer, all the ATMs in the city started showing the same message. The real game starts at midnight. Below that was a series of numbers that looked like a countdown. Officer Brown's radio crackled to life. "All units report to Central Park. Another ATM just revealed something about the missing children from last summer." He jumped in his car and sped away, sirens wailing. Bob Lee ran out of the bank again, his face white with fear. "Mrs. Smith, I found something in the old computer files. There's a reason why these secrets are coming out today. It's all connected to something that happened exactly 25 years ago in this bank's vault." As rain started to fall, Jane looked at Mrs. Green, who was still holding that mysterious key. The flower shop owner's eyes held a message. This was much bigger than anyone could imagine, and the secrets revealed so far were just the beginning of a dark truth that had been hiding in their small city for decades. The rain got heavier as Mrs. Green led Jane and Bob Lee behind the flower shop. The old key opened a rusty door hidden behind tall bushes. Behind it was a dark stairway going underground. Their footsteps echoed as they walked down into the darkness. "For 40 years I've kept everyone's secrets," Mrs. Green said, turning on an old lamp. "But someone else knows them now. Someone who wants revenge." The tunnel was long and cold. Old photographs hung on the walls, pictures of the bank from different years. One picture from 1995 showed something strange. A young Jane standing outside the bank with her parents. But that was impossible. Jane had never been to this city before getting her job at the bank. "That's not me," Jane whispered. But deep down she felt like she had seen this place before. Suddenly, all their phones buzzed at the same time. A new message appeared. "Breaking news. ATMs across the city revealing connections between the 1995 bank robbery, last summer's missing children, and Citibank's current manager." Bob Lee's hands shook as he checked his computer tablet. "More secrets are coming out. The mayor just got arrested. And look at this. Every secret is connected to something that happened in this bank's vault 25 years ago." Before Mrs. Green could explain more, they heard footsteps in the tunnel. Officer Brown appeared with his flashlight. "Found you," he said. "And Jane Smith? Or should I say Sarah Johnson? We found out your real identity. You're the daughter of the bank robbers from 1995. Jane felt dizzy. Memories started flooding back, memories she didn't know she had. She remembered being 5 years old in these same tunnels, watching her parents hide something in the vault. More phones buzzed. Another ATM message was broadcasting across the city. "The children are where the money is. The vault holds more than secrets." Mrs. Green quickly pulled out an old map. "The tunnels connect to the vault, but there's something else down here, something bigger. The children who went missing. They found out the truth about the city's biggest secret." Suddenly, the lights went out. In the darkness, they heard a voice they all recognized. It was Bill Taylor, the businessman from earlier. "Nobody is leaving these tunnels until we find what was stolen 25 years ago," he said. "And Jane's parents didn't just rob the bank that day. They hid something that could destroy everyone in this city." As their flashlights bobbed in the darkness, water started seeping into the tunnel. Above ground, all the ATMs started showing a final message. "Flood the tunnels. Drown the truth. Game over." Bob Lee's tablet showed security footage from the bank vault. The missing children were there, but they weren't trapped. They were searching for something, and in the corner of the video, a figure in a dark coat was watching them, holding what looked like Mrs. Green's flower shop key. Water was rising in the tunnels as Jane, Mrs. Green, Bob Lee, and Officer Brown ran deeper underground. Bill Taylor followed them, waving a gun. The cold water was already up to their knees. "The vault is this way," Mrs. Green said, leading them through a maze of tunnels. "But first you need to know the truth about 1995. The bank robbery was fake. It was a cover for something else." They reached a large metal door. On it was a digital screen, just like an ATM. When Mrs. Green touched it, it lit up. "Enter the code from all connected secrets to open." Bob Lee's tablet was still working. "Look," he shouted, "all the ATM receipts from this morning, the numbers form a pattern." His fingers flew across his tablet as he put the numbers together. Suddenly, Officer Brown grabbed Jane's arm. "Wait," he said. "I remember you now. The night my brother Tim died, you didn't kill him. He was killed because he found these tunnels. He left me a note about kids in a bank vault. The water was getting higher. Bill Taylor was getting nervous. Hurry up. They'll flood the whole system in 10 minutes. Bob Lee cracked the code. The door slowly opened, revealing a huge room. Inside, they found the missing children, all safe. They were surrounded by old computers and files. A young girl stepped forward, holding a USB drive. "We found it," she said. "The proof that our city's leaders have been stealing money for years. They were using the ATM network to move billions of dollars. Your parents," she looked at Jane, "didn't steal from the bank. They tried to expose the truth, but someone changed your memories to keep you quiet." The water was chest high now. More secrets started appearing on all the old computer screens. The mayor had been using Mrs. Green's secret files to blackmail people. The missing children were all sons and daughters of bank employees who discovered the truth. Bill Taylor wasn't really threatening them. He was trying to protect them from someone else. Then they heard a loud splash. Someone else was in the water with them. Through the darkness, they saw a familiar face. It was Tom Chen, the bank's owner. He looked different now, younger and more dangerous. "I've been running this city for 25 years, he said. "Every secret, every lie, every stolen dollar, and now you've all walked right into my trap." The children quickly moved to higher ground as the water kept rising. Jane's head was spinning with returning memories. She remembered everything now, her parents, the tunnels, and why Tim Brown really died. But before anyone could move, all the screens in the room flashed red. A new message appeared. "Backup system activated. Real secrets, unlocking now." What happened next would change everything they thought they knew about their city, their families, and themselves. The truth was far more twisted than any secret the ATMs had revealed so far. The red lights kept flashing as even deeper secrets filled the screens around them. But Tom Chen was smiling, like he wanted this to happen. The water had stopped rising, staying at chest level. "All these years," Tom said, "you thought the ATMs were just showing random secrets, but every secret was chosen to bring you here. Jane, show them what's in your pocket." Jane reached into her wet jacket pocket and found an old key, one she didn't know she had. Her hands shook as memories flooded back. She was 5 years old again, watching her father hide this same key inside her teddy bear before the police took him away. "That key opens something more valuable than money," Mrs. Green said quietly. "It opens the truth about Project Mirror, the real reason our ATMs were built." The young girl with the USB drive suddenly gasped. "The files! They're about Project Mirror, a computer program that doesn't just know secrets, it can change memories. That's how they made Jane forget everything." Bob Lee's tablet started beeping wildly. "The ATM network. It's not just in our city. It's connected to every bank in the country. Project Mirror has been collecting secrets everywhere for 25 years. Officer Brown pulled out an old piece of paper, his brother Tim's last note. "Look at the date," he said. "Tim wrote this the night he died. It says, 'The ATMs don't just show secrets, they create them. Don't trust your memories.'" Then Bill Taylor did something unexpected. He threw his gun in the water and pulled out a badge. "FBI," he said. "We've been tracking Project Mirror for years. but we never knew it could change memories until the children found the proof. The screen suddenly showed security footage from 1995. Jane watched herself as a little girl, playing in the bank while her parents, who were actually undercover agents, discovered Project Mirror. They tried to stop it, but Tom Chen caught them. "Your parents didn't rob the bank," Tom said to Jane. "They tried to expose me, so I used Project Mirror to change everyone's memories. The perfect crime. One where even the witnesses can't remember the truth." But Tom had made one mistake. The children he thought were trapped were actually part of a bigger plan. While everyone was distracted by the ATM secrets, they had been uploading all of Project Mirror's files to every news station in the country. "Game over, Tom," the young girl said, holding up the USB drive. "The real truth is already out there." Suddenly, the tunnel walls started shaking. Above ground, every ATM in the city began printing out the real story of Project Mirror. People's real memories were coming back. But as police sirens filled the air and the truth began spreading, Jane realized something terrifying. There was one last secret that even Tom Chen didn't know about, and it was hidden inside the teddy bear she'd kept all these years. Back at Jane's house, they all gathered in her small living room. The teddy bear sat on the coffee table, worn and faded after 25 years. The news was playing on TV. All across the country, people were getting their real memories back. "Open it," Mrs. Green said softly. Jane's hands trembled as she cut open the old teddy bear. Inside was a small silver disc, unlike anything they'd seen before. Bob Lee plugged the disc into his tablet. His eyes went wide. "This isn't just about changed memories," he said. "Project Mirror was Phase 1. Phase 2 was going to change everyone's future." The young girl, whose name was Lucy, explained what the children had discovered. The ATMs weren't just collecting secrets. They were gathering data to predict people's futures. Tom Chen wanted to control what everyone would do, not just what they remembered. Officer Brown got a call. "Tom Chen escaped custody," he announced. "But something's wrong. All the ATMs are showing a new message." They rushed to the nearest ATM. The screen was flashing. "Phase 2 activated. Time is now fluid." Suddenly, Jane felt dizzy. The world seemed to shift around her. When she looked at her hands, they were smaller. She was becoming her 5-year-old self again. All around the city, people were changing, becoming younger or older. "The silver disc," Bob Lee shouted, his voice getting younger. "It's not just storing data, it's controlling time itself." Mrs. Green, now looking 30 years younger, grabbed the disc. "Your parents didn't hide this to expose Project Mirror," she told Jane. "They hid it because it's the key to shutting it all down." Lucy, who hadn't changed at all, stepped forward. "That's why we children weren't affected. We're the glitch in their system, the ones Tom Chen couldn't control." But before they could use the disc, every electronic device in the city went dark. When they came back on, Tom Chen's face was on every screen. "Did you really think I would let you stop what I spent 25 years building?" He laughed. "Look outside." The sky had turned an unnatural purple. Cars were disappearing and reappearing in different decades. People were aging and getting younger at random. "Time itself is breaking down," Bill Taylor said, his FBI badge changing dates rapidly. "We have 1 hour before the time shifts become permanent." Jane looked at her reflection. She was aging and getting younger every few minutes. But she noticed something else. Her memories weren't changing anymore. She could remember everything now, including what her parents had whispered to her before they were taken away. "The bear knows when to wake up." Those words triggered something in the silver disc. It started glowing, showing a countdown. 60 minutes to save not just the city, but time itself. The purple sky got darker as time kept changing. People on the streets were confused, watching themselves get older and younger. Some disappeared completely, going back to times before they were born. Jane held the glowing silver disc tightly. Her age had stopped changing at 15, right between her forgotten childhood and changed adult memories. Lucy and the other children gathered around her, the only ones not affected by the time shifts. "The bear knows when to wake up," Jane repeated. Then she remembered something. The old bear. It wasn't just my teddy bear. It was the name of my dad's computer program. Bob Lee, now looking like a teenager, quickly typed on his tablet. Found it. There's an old program called Bear hidden in the bank's computers. But we need a password to wake it up. Mrs. Green, switching between young and old, pulled out an old photo from her pocket. Look at the bank's sign in 1995. The letters are arranged strangely. They all stared at the photo. Behind the bank's sign, barely visible, was a teddy bear drawing. Time was mixing everything up, but this picture stayed the same. Suddenly, Officer Brown shouted, "The ATMs, they're all showing teddy bears now." All over the city, ATM screens displayed the same image, a teddy bear with numbers hidden in its pattern. Lucy quickly wrote them down, 199522024. "It's not just numbers," she said. "It's two dates. Something connects 1995 and 2024. Jane's head hurt as memories crashed together. She saw her 5-year-old self playing with the bear, her teenage self finding it in the attic, and her adult self carrying it to work at the bank. Every version of her had kept the bear close, like it was protecting her. Tom Chen's face appeared on the screens again. "You can't stop time," he laughed. "Project Mirror isn't just in the computers anymore. It's in the fabric of reality." But as he spoke, the children noticed something odd. In every time shift, the bank's vault stayed exactly the same. It never changed. "The vault!" Bob Lee exclaimed. "It's outside of time. That's why Tom Chen built it. It's the anchor point for Project Mirror." They ran to the bank, watching the world shift around them. Cars turned into horses, then back to cars. Buildings became old, then new, then disappeared. The only constant was the bank, standing dark and solid. Before they could reach it, Tom Chen appeared in front of them. But he wasn't alone. There were 5 versions of him, from different times, all working together. "Welcome to the end of regular time," all the Toms said together, "and the beginning of my time." But something strange was happening to Jane's teddy bear. It started to glow with the same light as the silver disc, and in her mixing memories, one thought became clear. Her parents hadn't hidden just one program inside it. Jane's teddy bear glowed brighter, floating in the air between the 5 Tom Chens. The purple sky swirled like a tornado above the bank. Time was moving faster now. People on the street were aging and getting younger in seconds. "The bear isn't just a program," Jane said, memories becoming clearer. "It's a key to something bigger. My parents were time travelers." Lucy stepped forward, the other children forming a circle around Jane. "That's why we're not changing. We're all children of time travelers. Our parents came here to stop this from happening." The silver disc shot out of Jane's hands, connecting with the floating teddy bear. A beam of white light cut through the purple sky. Inside the light, they saw thousands of memories, not just from their city, but from different times and places. "Your parents failed," all the Tom Chens said together. "I spent lifetimes building Project Mirror. Every version of me made it stronger. You can't stop all of us." But Mrs. Green smiled, looking young again. "They didn't fail, Tom. They were waiting. A bear knows when to hibernate and when to wake up." The teddy bear burst open. Inside wasn't just one program. It contained hundreds of memories from time travelers who had hidden their secrets in plain sight. The ATMs hadn't been stealing secrets. They had been collecting them for this moment. Bob Lee's tablet lit up with code. "The Bear program. It's not trying to stop time from changing, it's trying to correct it. All these secrets, all these memories, they're anchor points." Officer Brown understood now. That's why my brother Tim died. He found out the truth, that there were time travelers living here, protecting these anchor points. The Tom Chens started to flicker. "No, Project Mirror controls time itself." "Wrong," Lucy said. "Time controls itself. We're just its guardians." Jane touched the floating bear, and suddenly she could see everything clearly. Her parents hadn't been bank robbers or even regular time travelers. They were time guardians, people chosen to protect the natural flow of time. And now, she was one too. The children joined hands, forming a circle around the bear. Each child represented an anchor point, a moment in time that needed to stay fixed. Their parents' memories, stored in ATMs across the world, began to wake up. But the Tom Chens had one last trick. The bank vault door swung open, revealing a massive machine. "If I can't control time," they said together, "I'll break it completely." The vault machine roared to life, shooting purple lightning into the sky. Time started breaking completely. Dinosaurs appeared on Main Street, future cars flew overhead, and people began fading in and out of existence. Jane and the children stood strong, their circle glowing with white light from the teddy bear. Each child's eyes shined with different colors, showing the timelines they protected. Lucy's were gold, representing the present. Others had blue for the past and green for the future. "Look at the ATMs," Bob Lee shouted. Every ATM screen in the world was now connected, showing the same message: Time Guardians Awakening. The 5 Tom Chens merged into one, growing larger and darker. "You don't understand," his voice boomed. "I'm trying to save everyone. If we control time, no one will ever die. No one will make mistakes. Everything will be perfect." But Mrs. Green, now glowing with rainbow colors, stepped forward. "That's the biggest secret of all," she said. "I'm the first guardian. I've watched over time since the beginning. And Tom, you were once a guardian too before you got greedy." Memories flooded the streets like water. People everywhere began to remember their real lives, their connections to time, the truth about the guardians. Some had been protecting time for centuries, living normal lives while keeping time's biggest secrets. Jane's teddy bear transformed into a golden key. The vault isn't a machine, she realized. It's a prison. It's where corrupted guardians are kept. Tom roared, "If I can't have time, no one will." He pressed a button on the vault machine. Reality started to crack like glass. But Lucy had figured out the final piece. "Quick, everyone who has a secret, speak it out loud. Your secrets are pieces of time itself." All over the world, people began telling their secrets to the ATMs. Each truth fixed a crack in time. The ATM networks glowed brighter and brighter, becoming a web of light around the earth. "No, no, no!" Tom screamed as the vault machine started pulling him in. "You don't know what's waiting in there." Jane held up the golden key. "Actually, we do. Mom and Dad are in there, aren't they? Along with all the other guardians you trapped. And now..." She put the key into the vault machine. A blinding light filled the city. The vault door swung open with a deep sound that shook the whole city. Inside, hundreds of people stood frozen in time. The missing time guardians. Jane saw her parents among them, looking exactly as they did in 1995. Tom tried to run, but the children's circle kept him trapped. The purple sky started clearing, showing stars from every time period at once. It was beautiful but scary. Time was still broken. "Only the truth can fix time now," Lucy said. She held up her USB drive, which was glowing like a star. "Every secret from every ATM, all the memories, they make a map of how time should flow." Jane's parents and the other guardians began to wake up. Her mother hugged her, whispering, "The bear kept you safe, just like we planned." But Tom wasn't finished. He pulled out a black crystal, a piece of broken time. "If I break this, reality ends. No more time, no more secrets, no more..." Before he could finish, something amazing happened. Every ATM in the world turned gold. People's secrets started flying out like shooting stars, but they weren't scary anymore. Each secret connected to others, making a giant web of truth around the earth. "This is what time really looks like," Mrs. Green explained. "It's not a straight line. It's a web of everyone's lives, everyone's truths, all connected." Jane's father took the golden key from her. "Tom didn't build Project Mirror to control time," he said. "He built it because he was afraid of his own secret." He turned to Tom. Show them why you really did all this." Tom fell to his knees, crying. His secret appeared on every ATM screen. "I saw the end of time. I saw everything die. I thought I could stop it by controlling time itself." Lucy walked up to Tom, touching his shoulder. "But that's not how time works. It doesn't need controlling. It needs protecting. That's why we have secrets. Some truths need to wait for the right moment." The black crystal in Tom's hand turned to dust. The web of secrets began pulling reality back together. Dinosaurs disappeared, future cars faded away, and people returned to their right times. Jane's teddy bear floated to the center of the vault, growing until it was as big as a house. Inside it was a new ATM, different from all the others. Its screen read, "Guardian Network restored, time balance maintained." "So what happens now?" Bob Lee asked, back to his normal age. Mrs. Green smiled. "Now we do what Guardians have always done. We live our lives, protect our secrets until they're ready to be told, and keep time flowing as it should." The children's eyes stopped glowing, but they could still feel their connection to time. The ATMs went back to showing regular bank balances, but sometimes, if someone really needed to see a truth, they might show something more. And in Citibank's lobby, next to the regular ATM, a small teddy bear sits on a shelf. Most people think it's just a decoration, but some, the ones who need to know, they see it glowing softly, keeping watch over time itself.